Good morning, Krusty Crew. I love that. Friday, thank you so much. Thank you for joining the bookshelf support. Oh god, I have music playing so my headset doesn't turn off. And it just went so loud when I did that. It's a little possum. Also, hang on. Let me see if I can pop this on. Is that not gonna... Hello? Where is it? Where is it? I have a cat with me. But I don't know why it's not popping up. It should be working. This all seems very rude. That there's no, yeah. The little possum icon! Yep, you're now holding up the bookshelf. Yeah. Hi, Friday. Hi, Nikki. Hi, May. Well, there goes the cat anyway. Hi, Leanne. Hello. Hi, Roxanne. How's everyone doing today? Did I miss anybody? Coming in? Nikki, hello. Good morning, or good time zone, wherever you are. I hope everyone is having a lovely day. I know many of you, are here because I missed stream yesterday, and I'm so sorry. I've been feeling very weird the past few days. In the kitchen making dinner, we'll eat some potato. Hell yeah! In the new place! I hope it's amazing. Hi, Inco! Okay, Stream Elements. No one asked you. You stayed up way late last night finishing Warbreaker, but now you can start the Bunny Read book! I kept going. Friday's playing ducks. Friday's playing ducks. There's Friday playing ducks. I'm like, it's like 3 in the morning. Friday's playing ducks. Very stressed. Yeah, I always get sick this time of year. And I do think it's from the holidays. I get sick either during Christmas week or the week after normally. And I just get really stressed with it. And then like family stuff. And it's always just a lot. YouTube is just weird. Hi, Amma! They got the king's cake out. My goodness. I'm so ready to talk. Me too. The ducks are my background reading wallpaper. I love that. I'm allergic, yes. Hi, Chris! Yeah. Yeah, I've been feeling just very funky Thursday, during work. I actually left work early. For those who don't know, I deliver now in the mornings for work as a part-time job. And halfway through my route, I was like, I feel really weird. I got really hot, really sweaty. I started getting really shaky, and I started getting vertigo. And I was like, I should not be driving. So I got home, and I still was like woozy all day. And then yesterday, I was better, but I still just kind of felt like not myself. I was like, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, Mardi Gras. I was gonna say, King's Cake is like a Mardi Gras thing. I'm feeling better. It just like was a really weird, I've never felt like that ever before in my life. I also was nervous because my stimulant hadn't kicked in. And I was like, the moment the stimulant kicks in, I feel like it's gonna be worse. So it thankfully wasn't. But it still was like, it was just awkward. So then yesterday I was like, okay, I'll stream, I'll be fine. But like the more like time was going, I was like, I feel tired. And I just don't really feel like entertaining. Don't really feel like talking a lot. It was one day funky feeling, then mostly stopped. Yeah, it was just really weird. Well, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. I'll be better. Hide in your box. Yeah, I'll be better. I just mostly was upset because I was gonna do ducks last night, duck ornaments last night. But we're gonna do those tomorrow instead. So I think it'll be fine because then I'll have more time to do them as well, and it'll be great. It'll be lovely. It is what it is, you know? Everyone else probably got to play Party Animals and Fortnite and all the other holiday updates that happened yesterday. for those who don't know, we're big party animal fans around here. I made it in my top 5 games played this year on Steam, in time and in enjoyment. And they have holiday skins right now. I smile every time I see my duck. I love the ducks. I know, I think after Christmas, once I take them off the tree, I think I am going to string them up on like a garland and maybe have them somewhere, I think. Yeah, Mariah Carey defrosted in Fortnite, and for those who don't know, if you log into Fortnite right now, every day you get a free item out of the winter cabin in Fortnite. So anyone who plays Fortnite even casually, you get free items right now. So you get 2 skins, I think, by the end. That's normally how it works. So, yeah. Anyway, that's that. We're here to talk about book club. We're going to talk about The Visitor. This was December's pick. This was our first month where we announced the book and read it in the same month. I will hopefully be announcing January, February, and March's books before the end of the month. I have a few ideas that I'm up between. But this is our December book, and it's a Christmas book. It's also by Sergio. I've read stuff by Sergio before. Really enjoyed it, so I thought this would be a fun one. I meant to read this last year, but just didn't get around to it. And then with Tiny Terrace, I was like, this is gonna be perfect. And I'm glad I read it. This was a really quick read. For those who don't know what the book is about and are just here to hear about it, let me tell you the synopsis of it. On Christmas, during one of the worst snowstorms Indiana has ever seen, that's Midwest for anyone who's not familiar with USians, 5 strangers are forced to take shelter inside of a roadside diner. As the night progresses, the snowfall shows no signs of relenting. Ice begins to build up on the roads, and the temperature seems to be dropping by the hour. But the worst has nothing to do with the weather, and everything to do with the 6th visitor coming to the diner. The jolliest time of the year quickly turns bloody as the diners find themselves fighting for their lives. This Christmas won't just be white, it'll be red too. So that's the synopsis of it. I really had no expectations going into this, honestly. And right off the bat, I think I was surprised that it was multiple point of view. Even though I knew there were going to be multiple characters, because we know the 6th visitor. For some reason, I thought it was just going to be kind of like watching from afar kind of storytelling. But instead, we're introduced to different characters, which is 5 different characters, at least. Which is something to do. That is quite the feat to do in a 90-page book, I feel like. I was nervous. I was like, oh, you want me this many points of views for 90 pages? Oh, that's a feat. I like that it was multiple point of view and the chapter titles. It worked well. I thought so too. I was very nervous at first. But it worked. And I thought Sergio did a good job of pacing that. That within, I think it was the first 20-some pages, which is a big chunk of just a 90-page book, we had been introduced to all the characters, and you cared about all of them. You got a good sense of who they were within just a few things. Why are you glamming up Gavin right now? Yeah. I cared so much about, yes, well, I'm gonna tell you all, as soon as the dog was introduced, I highlighted it and put a note and put, don't let the dog die. So, even though each character probably has, in their introductions, maybe a page, maybe 2 at most, you get a really good understanding of, like, who they are as characters and, like, what's important to them. You get a sense of their personalities. And Sergio, I think, did a really good job with showing that through not only, like, we get some of their inner thoughts, but then their interactions with the other characters around them. And I thought that was really good. And I kept wondering, you know, how important do you think it is that we cared about these characters? Because I feel like most of the time in horror novellas, we don't get a good sense of who the characters are necessarily, at least all the characters that are involved. Like, you'll get the main character, but the side characters don't. They're kind of there. You don't get a full sense of who they are all the time, and you don't necessarily care, but, like, how important is it to care? Because a lot of times they're just there for, like, they're gonna die. You know, they're gonna die. They're bait at that point. And I'm wondering, how important was it to care about these characters? The dog would have been died, I would have been devastated. No, yeah, I was like, you mother, don't you do it. I like at the end it says, yes, we'll just talk about the dog straight off the bat so everyone knows. You're introduced to a dog pretty early on. I think the dog kind of works as a red herring multiple times. And so you're introduced to a dog. Of course you love the dog. You don't want the dog to die, and then early on in the book, you get a bit of a scare because there's clearly a monster has entered the diner and the dog is gone. And you're just like, okay, the dog's dead. You know? I never trust anything if there's no body. So then later on, the dog comes back. We see the dog, and at the very end, the author puts a note and says, "The dog lives. This is my gift to you." So the dog lives, everybody! The dog does live! It's the final girl we always wanted. It's the one we need in life. Oh my god, the fortune cookie I got the day before I read this said, "Soon a visitor shall delight you," and it made me hopeful for the book. I love this book! That's so crazy that you got a fortune cookie that said that. That is why I love secret fact. Not so secret now, I'm gonna tell you guys. I love fortune cookies, and I have collected every fortune I have pretty much ever gotten. I keep them all. I love them. The final goodest girl. I'm pretty sure the dog was a boy, but it doesn't matter. It's our goodest final girl. It's the first Tiny Terror book that I've actually cared about the characters, and I think it made me really love, yeah. And I think Sergio did a really good job. And I do think this is a good point of, like, it does matter if you care about the characters. Because even though we know these characters for such a short amount of time, like, we have, let's go through the death count, right? First, we have the diner owner. And we know he seems like a nice guy. He lets his employees off for Christmas, but he goes and works. He gets excited that his regulars come in on Christmas, and he loves the gifts that they give him, and he looks forward to the gifts that they give him. And so his first death, I feel like you are now mourning the Christmas that never was. Or here is this person who just genuinely delighted in the small things. And now that's gone. So we kind of have this death of, like, you know, joy. Right off the bat, it's this death of joy. And you feel that. You're like, I'm so upset that he did not, you know, he didn't get that small bit of joy that, like, he's the most hopeful out of everyone in that diner. When they come in and everyone else is like, oh, I'm missing Christmas, and oh, this is, you know, whatever. And he's like, no, I love it. Like, this is fine. I'm so excited to open my little gifts at the end of the day from my coworkers. The other books we read, if a character died, I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. But in this book, I was genuinely rooting that they make it out. You start screaming, you know you're in trouble, and then he dies screaming. Yeah, and the dude who said it is like, oh shit, yeah. He loved getting gifts from his friends and his waitress, and they didn't even get to open. I know! That's like the first, like, it impacts you. We know the man for about 30 pages for like a quarter of this book. And we're immediately impacted by it. Like, that is, it sucks. It's a very regrettable death. It's like you're sitting there and you're just like, there goes hope. Because even though, like, you know, we have these other characters, that is the first one and it is very impactful. I don't know if I would have been impacted if the poet died first. You know, because we know he's the most unlikable of the group. We know this. When he dies, we're kind of like, meh. But at the same time, we understand that this is like a guy who's down on his luck. You know, he's just trying to get through the day. He's kind of over it. If he would have been the first one, I don't know if it would have... It doesn't quite hit as hard. His death was probably the one where you're like, okay, this is an introduction to the monster. Poet dying is poetic. Yes, he flees. The poet was like, whatever. He cared about himself. If he would have been the first one, I don't know if I would have cared as much, you know? But the fact that we get that very first one and you're immediately like, please be alive. Please just let this be like, oh, like the power went out and he stubbed his toe and that's why he screamed, you know? Like, you're like, please, please. With the poet, you're kind of like, okay. All right, yeah, well, he was kind of a jerk. But instead you get that immediate, like, rug pulled out from under you. Going to die from poisoning since he was in his car with the heat all the way up? Yeah. Yeah, making him the first one was too easy. Yes, it would have been like, okay, yeah. Yep, the poet's death was to show, like, the monster. That was the introduction. I think it also helps because I know that he's, like, a comedian type thing. But because we're from his point of view when we meet the original monster, because there's two in this book. We're from his point of view, and I think it also worked in a way that he was a writer because we get the most descriptive version of the monster from his point of view. Because later on, when another character describes the monster, it's just like, oh, it's an alligator, it's a creature. It's a something. Whereas he's like, you know, he's like, oh, this is how it looks. It's got this leathery skin, and it's got these teeth, and it's got feline-like actions. The visitor had a dog. That dog dies, but it's not like a real dog. It kind of made me think of like a Demogorgon in a way. The way it was kind of described, it was like if a Demogorgon had like scales. And because anyone who's ever watched Stranger Things or has looked up anything with the Demogorgon, when they're on 4 legs, especially in DBD, we call him the demo dog. The little doggy. The demo doggy. So, like, to me, I was kind of picturing, like, the Demogorgon. And when it said it like, opened its mouth to reveal a ton of teeth. The only difference was it also had a lot of eyeballs and, like, bulbous points. Yeah, you know the Demogorgon. Yeah, that's kind of what I was picturing, but I feel like the poet worked well as a way to describe that. So then after that, we have the family man. And we know something is really not right when he's killed in a different way from the other two so far. The other two have been attacked by this monster. But family man, why can't I think of his name? Is it Santiago? It was an S name, right? There was Sal. And then, anyway. So when he dies, he's been stabbed. And we're like, that's weird. I've forgotten the names too, and I just read it. He's been stabbed, and we're like, oh. I want to know if any of you during this point thought there's someone else, like there's another being or if you thought, oh, what if Sal is behind this, the diner owner? Like, what if this is like a sacrifice book, you know? He calls down these things and, like, they're in on it. I did think there was 2 monsters. I personally was conflicted during this point when he gets stabbed, because it says someone is there and then he gets stabbed. And we hadn't seen Sal's body. And we had this monster, and I wasn't really expecting, because it's just called The Visitor. So I wasn't expecting more than one. Saw the blood trail, but like... thought there was 3 monsters, but I didn't know my own reasoning. Okay. I was not expecting any other monsters at this point. I thought this was the monster kind of deal when as he gets stabbed. This is right before the monster gets killed. Because as soon as the monster gets killed, you're like, oh, there's something else. But this is before it gets killed. After he's been stabbed, and I'm like... oh my god, what if Sal is in on this? Like, he went back up around, you know, kind of did this thing, has them all freaked out, all concerned. He goes back around, locks them in, and he's, like, in on this, you know? Like, this is actually, like, he's actually not a good guy. There's a reason he spends Christmas alone. We've been set off course. That's what I was thinking in this moment. I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm reading a 3rd sacrificial book in a row. Somehow I've managed to pick 3 sacrifice books in a row. It was Sal all along! I was like, okay, there's the guy who kills the poet, and then there's the guy who threw the knife, and then another- oh, so you were kind of viewing this all as, like, one singular time frame, basically. Instead of like a series of events, you were looking at a singular time frame. I think too, because like I said, the poet describes the monster in more detail, and later when the husband is describing it, he's just kind of like, it's got scales and it's got eyes. So you could kind of be convinced that they're 2 different things in a way. Very similar, but different. Okay, I need to know who was going in the cellar to check on Sal. Who was going to do it? If you were in that diner, would you have gone down? Being an alien dog, yeah, really threw me for a loop. Because they all went? Do you think you would have made that decision? I wasn't gonna stay alone? No way. I was like, yeah, no. The moment, was it Xavier said he was going down, I was like, that's fine. He can go. So, like, if 2 people would have volunteered to go, and the 3 others would have stayed back, or the 2 others, if 2 people would have decided to go, it is interesting to me because I am surprised that the husband didn't volunteer to go, because later on we know that he was part of the army. I'm surprised he didn't volunteer to go. Like, he wasn't the first one to volunteer, given that he had experience, you know? I won't lie, right, especially if I had my dog with me, I'm staying with the dog. Sorry, everybody, I gotta take care of my baby. Yeah, the fact that they all were like, we're going, probably knows it's a bad idea. Yeah, but still, like, they all were kind of standing there and they're like, do we go? Do we not? I also don't know. I think if I would have heard Sal scream, I don't know if I would have immediately jumped to the conclusions that they did. Now, I know that this is a short story, and, like, so we're gonna skip a few steps in the process to move this along. Because, like, there's no point beating around the bush with them. Something's wrong. But in real life, if I heard him screamed, again, I would have thought that he, like, smacked his head on something, maybe fell. And I probably just would have been like, oh God, like, you know, I don't think I would have immediately been like, he's dead. Me and Fido, yep. They immediately believe it's something bad, and I do think that that's more of like to progress the story. But I was thinking as I was reading it, I'm like, how they know he didn't just, you know, there's that hope that he just stubbed his toe, right? Like he tripped. There's that hope at this point. Yeah, not that he was immediately dead. I see people scream over snowmen. Wow, I wonder who that could be, Friday. Wow, who would do such a thing? Who would scream at snowmen? Yes. So I do think in that situation, I probably would go investigate without really thinking too much about it. Yeah, because I wouldn't be thinking monster or death or any of that at this point. But knowing that it's likely death now, you know, from the point of view that we are now, I don't think I would have gone. It's such a good scream. It was terrifying. Okay, it was a really scary snowman. I just really love to give my lungs a good workout, like every week, by playing the scariest thing I can. There's a monster and you scream, you are dead. Yeah. You gone. I ain't checking on it. I did think that the visitor, being more human-like, they have a dog, a hunting dog, they have a gun, you know, they seem to know the ways of things. Being more human-like made it more scary. Because I feel like the big cat alligator thing was kind of, it's scary, but it's not real to me. It's harder to make that scary. But when the alien itself, the visitor, was more human-like, that to me is scary because there's more logic there. There's a sense of understanding of how our world works and how humans work. And even though it's still very different and othering, it's scarier to know that it understands, like, human intentions. It was like, you know, I know that I can scare them out this way, and I know they're gonna do this, and, you know, I can aim and try to predict, you know, where they're going. Yeah. So yeah, they're scientists. He was taking the organs and he was like, you know, I'm looking at the functions of these. I'm trying to figure out what this does. There's a thought process. There's, you know, and I think too, we think scientists, we think smart. A reasoning monster it's much more frightening. A smart monster is much more frightening than like a creature, because a creature you think has limited capabilities, they have limited cognitive abilities. So it being more humanoid is definitely like, oh shit. He didn't care when they killed his dog, so he wasn't a good person or alien or whatever, you know, whatever he was. It was very unfeeling. We could tell that he was unfeeling. Hi, Julia! We could tell that he was pretty unfeeling, I think. I was like, there was one point, I think it's when the husband dies, where I thought, oh fuck, no one's making it out. No one is going to make it out of this. This is going to be the most depressing Christmas book I've ever read. I'll get it out of the dog, like, not even shedding a tear, nothing. Just want to say hi, Julia. I think you would enjoy this book in future. Just saying. Yeah, Sniper, they shouldn't have survived. Thought maybe he didn't kill my border collie because he had a dog too. Like there was some semblance of him being not so different from us. Yes. Like he also brought a pet with him. And like I would do anything for my pet. Kind of deal. Like that's how Xavier was. But when the husband dies, I was like, oh fuck. So we have the death of hope. We have the death of family. We have the death of art. And then when the husband dies, we have the death of love. Kind of deal. That's going on. It's, you know, all these, like, kind of, I don't know, like, I feel like things that you think about during Christmas. Joy, hope, family, love, celebration. I was like, person A, B, and C are dead. Yeah. Well, I kept wondering, I'm like, why is Sergio spending this much time, you know, wanting me to get to know these characters? That's how I was thinking of it. And at one point I thought, but not the death of the first. No, they must live forever. That's different. I was like, why do we want to know this? I also think it sets us up to believe that Xavier, at the beginning, Xavier is the least competent of them all. He seems irrational. He seems kind of dumb. You know, he's driving his car in the snowstorm, where I'm still confused how he was even driving the car in the snowstorm, to be honest. Sergio, I know Sergio lives in Philadelphia, so Sergio has seen snow, but like, if you're in a car, you ain't driving in shin deep snow. Your car ain't going nowhere. But yeah, I think he's made to be the most, like, incompetent of them all. Pretty, you know, pretty early on. But I kept wondering why, and I even thought at one point, I'm like, are these supposed to be like, is this supposed to be like a Christmas Carol type thing? We had the ghost of like the past, present, future. But I was like, wait, there's too many characters. But I was like, you know, I think each of these characters kind of symbolizes something in a way. I do think that in some way, and I'm like, and there's a reason that this takes place at Christmas. Like, there has to be. Otherwise, I mean, this story could work really in any other time. Just, you need a place with snow, essentially. So I was like, you know, what is the importance of that? So I was viewing, you know, kind of like the joy, family, love aspects of like holiday season. And since we've already killed off love, you don't need to kill the second part of love. You know, we still have kind of like, there's the wife lives. Thank goodness. Was a choice but not needed. Yeah. I mean, I think so, but that's why I was like, I feel like it's important to some degree. Which is why I was connecting them to like different, you know, different things. Yeah, the wife was badass. She's our actual final girl in a way. I know Xavier also lives. We do have at least 3 survivors. Xavier, his dog, Norm, which what a fantastic name for a dog, Norm. I love it. And then we have the wife. That's why it's fun listening what you think. I think sometimes though I overanalyze books. And people will be like, Allie, no. Like, it's one of those instances where it's like the curtains are white simply because they're white. Like, that's it. There's nothing else. But to me, I was like, okay, this is set at Christmas. I think it was more of just like, these are things that I noted as being different from other horror novellas. So to me, they stood out a little bit more. The wife was a badass, yeah. So I don't know if anyone else. If I name my dog Norm, people ask if it's short for Norman. I would say no, it's short for normal. I mean, that's a good way of looking at this, though, too, because here we have Norm, the very normal dog, versus the very not normal dog. Like a lot of partners do when the other half died. Yeah. She was a very capable person. Yeah. I do think we see that found family aspect because, you know, Xavier and her have a bond from this moment on, basically. And it's not romantic, but it's very much like we're going to get out of this and we're going to, you know, we're going to take care of each other and we're going to get this done. There's that bit of that found family aspect. It's like when you come on hard times, it's like who's there for you? They're both characters in their own right, not just half of a couple. Yeah. They weren't like a singular unit, which is kind of what I thought they were going to be at the start because they were mentioned basically together, doing everything together from the start. And I thought, like, when her husband died, she was just gonna, like, lay on his dead body and be like, take me too! You know, how that goes. But I was glad. I will say I have one gripe. I have one gripe with this. I need you all to tell me, when they described the alien, and it has a tank, and a mask, and a hose between the tank and the mask. When you attack the alien, after seeing this, what are you going to be attacking? The moment I see a tank with a mask and a hose connecting the two, I'm going for the fucking tank and the hose! It took them three attacks, I feel like. Not the hose nozzle! Anything but the hose! I just was very frustrated because every time they attacked, I'm like, the hose! The hose! The hose! Get the tank! Someone do something! And they just were like, I'm gonna stab him in the shoulder, and I'm gonna... And, you know, circumstances. I don't know if I would be thinking clear in that moment. Hoes before bros! I don't know if I would have been thinking clear in that moment. I don't know. But I was like... Please, for the love of God, why is this taking so long for us to realize? Yes, when Norm reappeared and saved the day, I was very happy. I'm glad that, yes, I loved that she was the one who essentially kills the visitor. The wife is the one who kills the visitor. Wish could have killed him sooner. Like, yeah, you fucking could! They could have snapped that hose in the first fight, yeah. I did love... Yeah. I mean, that is possible in code that, like, if he had still been alive, he might have gotten the hose. But I don't know, because... Maybe we're not connecting the dots. Maybe no one's seen an alien movie before. I don't know. But I was just like, why is it taking so long? I love that their first thing that they do, though, when they get back to the cabin is like, time to have a cup of tea. Because that would so be me. I would get to safety and be like, does anyone have a drink? I need tea, I need coffee, I need something. There's something comforting about tea, and I think like I would be immediately seeking some sort of comfort that's like, you know, what's gonna make me feel normal in this moment? Everything is so unnormal. I need to feel normal. I also love that we got the point of view from the dog. It was a sneaky little thing. I need more caffeine for my adrenaline state. No, truly. I love that we got the point of view from the dog. I was worried there. I don't know if anyone else got worried at the end when he goes back. And, you know, the claws are coming up the stairs. And at first I was like, don't tell me this fucking monster, like, repieces itself back together, like the gun did. Comes apart and comes back together. I'm like, no, because it seems like organic material instead. I'm like, don't tell me that. But then when he was, like, petting the dog and he's like, the dog smelled funny, I was like, don't tell me that the dog is now an alien. I was like, don't do it. I got nervous. I don't know, maybe we'll get a visitor too. And it'll be called something else. Dogs, I mean, they do be smelling. They do be. But I was quite nervous that, like, I was like, oh, fuck. The dog was down there eating on alien meat, and now it's an alien. But that didn't seem to be the purpose of the visitor. The visitor wasn't there to, like, take over. The visitor was just there to, like, harvest some things and go back to his ship. He wasn't there for a takeover, which is, like, I don't know, makes it more unsettling almost. Like, him being able to drive with, like, feet of snow, the guy turning his heat on when he was stuck in snow. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There were parts of the snow at the beginning where I, too, was like, you know, as someone who lives in a pretty snowy area, it did seem a bit, like, I know that the snow was used to keep them in, and it's a hindrance and all this stuff. And it even seems to some degree like maybe the visitors had some, like, way of controlling this, because after they leave, it, like, lets up. Very fast paced, yes. I really enjoyed this. He came to the wrong planet, he sure did. You know, I even thought that at one point, you came to the wrong damn planet. This was, like, after he was, like, such simple beans, basically. This is gonna be easy peasy. No worries. I do like that they left, too. Like, basically, they came and they saw that, you know, their alien dude was dead, and they were like, alright, time to get the hell out of here. They were like, nope, never. I think that they left. I mean, whether or not they would come back at a future date, I don't know. But I do think at that point they would have just left. Unless they come back with reinforcements. Maybe Sergio's working on a sequel where they come back with reinforcements. But to me, it just seemed like they, you know, they came in, were like, oh, this isn't really worth it, and left. Because isn't that what you would do? You have an expedition. Your friend is like, oh, it's gonna be easy, and then next thing you know, their pet is dead and they're found slaughtered, and, you know, the habitat seems unlivable. Wouldn't you be like, I don't know if it's worth it. It's like how old humans learn to eat mushrooms. Don't eat that one, it killed Bob. That's it, yeah. They were like, yeah, maybe not this one. Feel like I left a bit interpretation, so I don't know what you guys think happened. I think, you know, I do think that there's possibility that they might come back at some point. I mean, now that we have the possibility that they exist within this universe, there is a possibility that they would come back. But to me, them, like, clearly just leaving, they aren't available right now. Go away, Stream Elements. I don't know how to turn it off from YouTube. Anyway. The fact that they just leave makes me feel like they're done, kind of deal. Yeah, this planet killed Alien Bob. Let's not return here. They could come back with more force, or they'd be like, nah, these guys they're too smart. Come back on a different holiday. Maybe when it's sunny. I don't know. They just got his body and dipped. I think after seeing, like, his body, like... Because, I mean, at this point, his pet's gone, so they probably realized that, like, he wouldn't have gone somewhere without it. The pet's gone. The gun has been used against him. He's like beaten up. He's got chew marks. His head is blown to pieces. Like, I feel like they probably been like, this is too crazy for us. They come back on Valentine's Day, it's gonna be in the smut section. I think the chew marks really would have done it for me. On his groin. I would have been like, yo, these species, they're into some weird shit. So they probably won't come back because they know, yeah. They've noted our weaknesses and this isn't gonna work. Kind of deal. I mean, I'm looking at them as, because, you know, we basically, so they're quite human-like. But they're also scientists in a way. They're researching to some degree, and I think that they would have, you know, you would have reached a point where you're like, I'm not too sure if this is an endeavor that's worth pursuing. Or maybe, you know, maybe it is like, we clearly need to advance ourselves before we come back. They know we are tough. Stream elements, fuck off. Quit lying to the people. Gosh. I think I'm gonna give it a 4.5. This is probably one of my favorite ones that we've read. I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed this one a lot. I know Stream Elements has been in here so much. Great, yeah, it was a really fun one. This one's one of the best ones, yeah. So I figured, I knew Sergio, I've enjoyed Sergio's writing before, so I figured it was gonna be a good time. And I know that he doesn't normally include violence for the sake of violence or anything that's just there for shock factor or kink factor. So I had high hopes and I'm glad. 4.25 and 4.5. Yeah. I mean, I do take into account that some things have to be, you know, a little skimmed on because it's a novella. But I think Sergio did a really good job with making me really enjoy the characters, think about it, like why we needed to know them. I think he did a really good job fitting in multiple point of views with a decent cast of characters in a short period of time, creating something that was creepy but also intriguing. Like, I wasn't just like, oh shit, like there was a level of curiosity there that I too was like, okay, but what is this alien? You know, I too would want to hang around and stare at, you know, some of the weird things that are happening. I too would be intrigued. Yep, injury was explained, not glorified, not too detailed for too long, for the sake of it, just, you know, for the sake of being gross. Went from last month's, my first one, to this one. What a time. Yeah, last one was something. Went from one of the first to one of the best. That's how it is almost every time. We just flip-flop between, like, one that's, like, really bad and then one that's pretty good. Yeah, we definitely needed a good pick-me-up. It's a wild tournaments. It swings pretty wildly around here. There's only been, I think, like one where we were pretty mixed bag on it. And that was it was more of a short story collection. That was They Were Here Before Us or something like that by Eric LaRocca. I think that's been the most mixed, but the rest of them have been pretty. I will say, when it described the fish eyes on the creature, I was like, is this going to be another fish from the sky? I was like, are we going to get more fish falling from the sky? More fish rain. But that one was a good one too, so like I wouldn't have minded it. Kind of made me a little excited. More fish rain. Does anyone have any other like questions, comments to say about the book? Anything that like you were thinking while reading it? Because I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think Sergio did a good job. The pacing was great. I thought the characters were great. I like that we get a happy ending. I know not everyone likes a happy ending in their horror, but I don't mind it from time to time. I like some hope. I think the only other thing that Sergio has out is Camp Slaughter, which is very much a slasher. It's very reminiscent of like Hillbilly in the Woods. And Pizza Cat read it as well and enjoyed it. But it's a trilogy. I've read the first one and really enjoyed it. But you do have to be aware going into it that it is a slasher, so it's a little gorier. And it's, you know, about people who come across a camp and basically get picked off. Yeah, slasher. I like my little goose emotes over here. They're fun. Let me see if they have anything else. I would like to read. It does look like he has some other things. I've read the Camp Slaughter. He has another one called The Toy Maker, one called The Chaos, one called Dark Treasures. And I haven't read any of those, but I'm very interested. Actually, you know what? Let me see if any of these are also novellas or if they're all. Oh my, The Toy Maker is like 600 pages. Not as much to say when we enjoy a book. Yeah, it was great. We enjoyed it. Yeah. That seems like such a big one. It looks like it's a puppet on the front. The Chaos is about 330 pages. It's very apocalyptic. I did think I saw where it's inspired by I Am Legend. Dark Treasures is 270, about 280 pages. Oh, okay, Dark Treasures sounds interesting though. Don't be afraid of the dark. Sometimes there's treasure in it. A shunned clown with a murderous plot fueled by jealousy, a hungry creature living in the sewers of a small town, a haunted board game that pits friends against each other in a game of life and death, a grim spin on a childhood tale, and 4 other stories. Oh, this is a short story collection. Will grip you and won't let go until the last page. I'm intrigued by that. I love a good short story collection. Can we look at? Yeah, we can look at for the visitor. Absolutely. Oh yeah, I do kind of. Let's start doing that at the end of each section, cause I think that's fun. That's fun. All right. Ooh, interesting reviews here. A lot of 3 stars. Interesting. I love that the first one is, damn, there's some rude arse mofos in here. Okay, Melissa, you tell them. You tell them. This is a fun and gory little alien novella that just happens to take place at Christmas. It was super fun, and because of the afterword, the book was bumped from 4 to 4.5. I like the characters. Yeah, I like that. Short and simple. Cute. This doesn't count as a review. I'm sorry. Hang on, can I? A group of strangers stranded in a cafe. It's not a cafe. At Christmas during a snowstorm encounter an alien. The afterword just said the dog survived. That's just what the afterword said. You're just a sour grape that nobody wants to eat. That's not a review. That's just a synopsis. You should read it. It was very fun. Some people don't know how reviews work. Why I think that was an epilogue? I mean, I think it was titled afterward. I know, like, that's such an interesting way to review things. I mean, this could be like a personal review as well, because sometimes my reviews are just like for me to remember something, but like that's very clearly just a synopsis. This person rated 3. Peter. The alien hunter and its dog are preying on the humans. Who will survive? Interesting premise and some eerie moments, but sometimes too many characters and a confusing plot. Well, those are the 2 things I liked about it. That's a shorter summary than I give. There are 6 characters, Peter. Nothing against any of these people, by the way. Everyone reads books and reviews them differently and likes them differently. Nothing against them. I just enjoy seeing like what people liked about a book and what they didn't like about a book. Personally, I adore horror stories set during the holiday season because they served it. Can I make this like bigger? Well, okay. Well, I have to work on something that like works for all of it. Okay. Adore horror stories. Appreciate that this one had those holiday details without being overdone. It was good, yet simple tale of a mysterious visitor. There was a sci-fi element. It's first and foremost a piece of horror. The novella was quite short. They wanted more. The afterword, however, was perfection. I like looking at the 1-star reviews, yeah, because sometimes there are things that people point out, and I'm like, you know what, actually, that's a really good point. You know, sometimes I do. This book was great. 1 star, yeah. I would recommend this to anyone looking for a new holiday-themed horror story to read during the Christmas season. Agreed. I enjoyed it. Fast-paced, deliberate, and scary. I wasn't able to warm up to it because it ended too quickly, which is satisfactory. The words aren't matching. The star rating. I can't tell. Did they give it 2 stars because they wanted more? Like they felt they didn't get enough. It was an okay read for me. Not really a fan of this kind of horror. Okay, but it was fun on its own. This person rated pretty high. There's suspense that kept you guessing, an overall eerie atmosphere. Short and sweet, had a somewhat happy ending. Feels like expecting a twist or just some extra bump to give it a 5 stars. I would recommend this. So they just wanted something a little more, like a plot twist thrown in. I think I overthought it enough that I came up with my own plot twists. Oh my god. Oh, okay, this is a not nice review, and this is one that is personally, I feel like, attacking. Because it says they're not here to trash the author's name, but they're here to call out the people mentioned in the acknowledgements. And they're basically saying that people left inflated review scores. Okay. I enjoyed it a lot. This was my first experience with Sergio's writing. Definitely won't be my last. I enjoyed all the characters and felt oddly attached to them for having been such a short story. If there was a full novel, I'd definitely read it. I feel pretty close to that. I think there was only one grammar mistake that I found in the whole thing, and it wasn't even like a grammar mistake. It was just that a sentence read funny. But that was the only thing that I feel like I came across. The only other thing would maybe be the inconsistency with like the snow, like just how snow works. But I don't think that was a misunderstanding from the author's perspective. I think that was just because it was such a condensed story. It was more of like, this is how treacherous it is. And I don't even know if, like, an editor would have been like, hey, make the snow shorter, man. So, I don't know, that's just not... I think that is a bit much. Yeah, people expect too much of indie authors and novellas, yeah. I found a lot of people unfairly, in my opinion, unfairly rate novellas, thinking that it needs to be as fleshed out as a novel. But the thing with novellas is that there is a master to it to get, you know, enough information to get the reader interested. There is an art to it. But I think also there has to be parts of it that have to be left unmentioned or have to be a little exaggerated in a way so that the reader needs to be able to fill it in on their own or needs to be able to understand something on their own. You can't handhold through a novella. Colors, every time they misspelled it, colors, and that's a massive... Okay, Friday. Okay. Alright, let's look at... Let me pull up one other, like, 1-star. This one also says, benefited from an editor, and I'm just really confused if, like, at some point maybe there was a change. Because I really, like, I'm pretty picky. I'm not gonna lie, I tend to be pretty picky with, you know, how books are written, the format of them. I sometimes am a little hard on self-published indie stuff when it comes to editing. And I don't tend to take points away unless it's really bad, but I will note it. But I don't know. I guess I'm confused. They could have, but I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I'll never understand the need to rate books according to who you are friends with. This is interesting to me because I do recognize some of the people that were in the back of the book mentioned, because a lot of them are booktubers. But I don't know really any booktubers who actually lie about the ratings they give their books. I really don't. It seems to be like this thing that people think that booktubers do, and I just genuinely don't really know any that do that. And most of the ones that I knew in that list also would not shy away from either just not discussing the book entirely or for being honest about it. This book needed some serious edits. Incomplete sentences, bad grammar, and just plain weird choices. Lack of editing. Lazy storytelling. Author does nothing interesting. There's nothing alien about the way it moves. I think that's what made it unsettling. Why does it need to happen at Christmas time? I think there was a point to be made. Maybe it was updated? Maybe. All of these literals are right after it was released? Maybe. 5 stars too easily. I also think people give out 1 stars too easily. Yeah. Even if it needed an editor, unless it was like absolutely like you could not read it. But I feel like even then, like these people seem to understand the story enough that I feel like it was still very understandable. Not for the editing. And I think that's a choice. It just is interesting that, like, I don't know, like, I read into it being that it was specifically at Christmas time for a reason, and, you know, someone else thought, why? I've also seen that, and I don't know what that is. I noticed that too, Nikki. Because of spoilers. Oh, Jan. Jan rated it 1 star. Oh, interesting. I want to see it. Oh, not an alien girly, I guess. That's fair. I know, shooketh. Shooketh! It's just interesting, you know? Okay, I don't know if it's the worst story I've ever read. After it wasn't mentioned, so maybe there was an editing at some point. Well, no, this one is 2002, and it says it should have been used in the editing department. That was 2022. So, I don't know. I don't know. That is interesting, though. It's an interesting thing to know. Again, everyone reads things differently. I love looking at reviews to see if there's things that I missed. You know, it does make a good factor of like, okay, yeah, this was a thing. I understand this, or, you know, well, I disagree with this. But we all review things differently, and we all know that I have some pretty unpopular opinions in the world, and a lot of my favorite books are 1-star books to the rest of the world. And someone probably reads my 1-star reviews and goes, what the fuck is wrong with this person? Just feel some of them I do feel were a bit more personal. I wasn't expecting. I probably wouldn't have pulled up the reviews if I was expecting them to be personal attacks on people. It's true. Friday's always correct. I'm still friends with you, even though you hate my favorite book. That's me every time I diss, like, Shay loves cozy fantasies, and I'm always like, I just don't get them. But Shay DNFs half the books I recommend to her, so, you know, there's that. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'll be announcing, hopefully within the next week, what our January, February, and March books are. This was such a good, I enjoyed this. It was a fun time to read. It was good stuff. I will be live tomorrow on Twitch, 11 a.m. EST. I'm gonna be doing more duck ornaments. We're gonna be watching more ducks on stream. We're probably gonna be looking at some of the party animal stuff as well, just different game updates, so I can show everyone all the good stuff happening. My top book boyfriend, your response is, oh man, please read more books then. I'm so sorry, May. I'm excited for the duckies. I love them so much. I love them so much. I mean, no disrespect to anybody. All the things I say are out of love and jokes. You're all amazing and fantastic and so smart. And I'm so happy that we all find joy in books. What's your favorite? Wait, do I know your favorite book Friday? Do I even know it? Is it Pokemon? Oh, Cotton Candy Massacre! Yes. Hey, I have it downloaded. One step at a time. All with love, Call, and dog's name Norm. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Pokemon. Yeah, just Pokemon in general is your favorite. I already know this. I know things. Thank y'all so much for hanging out. I will see those who I see tomorrow. Thank you so much. And I will see you in next one. Love you all. Have a merry holidays. Anyone who I don't see, thank you for reading with me. And I'll see you then. Okay, bye.